Alright, sit down for a second because let me tell you what actually happened with Meghan Markle and that Harper's Bazaar cover. You've probably seen the pictures, the airbrushing, the poses, but what you haven't heard is the story behind those photos. The story Harper's Bazaar didn't sugarcoat. The story they accidentally exposed on the world stage live, loud, and with no safety net. This wasn't just a photo shoot. This was a reveal, a slip, a moment where the glossy magazine Meghan thought would lift her up ended up shining a light on everything she tried to hide, because behind the fancy outfits and dramatic stares was a woman fighting desperately to control a story that simply refused to stay in her hands. Harper's Bazaar didn't set out to expose her, but oh, did they expose her. And once you hear what really went down, once you see the cracks they captured, you'll understand exactly why people are calling her the Duchess of Delusion. Let me show you how it all started. From the very first look, you can tell something is off. It's like the photo shoot was fighting for its life. Meghan appears on the cover looking, well, not like Meghan, not even like her Hollywood version. More like a computer-generated guess of what someone might look like if they squinted at her from a moving car. Sources claim the airbrushing team worked overtime using every tool in the editing software. Blur, soften, erase, stretch, liquefy. By the time they finished, Meghan's face looked smoother than a marble countertop. Her wrinkles gone, her real texture deleted, her natural shape missing in action. And then there were the poses. Oh, the poses. At one point, she's standing stiff like a scarecrow that escaped a cornfield. Another moment, her feet are spread in that now infamous flipper stance. The kind of pose that makes you wonder if the photographer yelled, "Pretend you're about to paddle a canoe," and just when you think the cringe has reached maximum level, she's caught chewing gum during the shoot. Gum! On a luxury fashion set. The kind of behavior that would make even a mall photo booth say, sweetie, no, this wasn't a cover. This was a cry for help wrapped in expensive fabric. Now, here's where things shift from funny to uncomfortable. Because hidden under the layers of airbrushing and awkward stances is something much deeper, much stranger, and honestly, a bit haunting. Sources say Meghan styled herself this way because she wanted to copy Princess Diana. Not subtly, not respectfully, but almost like she was trying to step into her ghost. Look at the hair. Messy. Windswept. I just threw this on, but it's actually styled for 2 hours. Look at the soft sad eyes expression. Diana's signature helping people gaze. Look at the silhouette. The loose pants, the soft blouse, the emotional undertone. It felt less like fashion and more like cosplay, but not the fun kind. The uncomfortable kind where you can't tell if the person understands the boundary between admiration and copying. Even fashion editors whispered that Meghan had entered a Diana performance era, not honoring her memory, but trying to borrow her magic. And that's where the problem hits, because Diana's power wasn't staged. It wasn't filtered. It wasn't a performance. It was real, effortless, human. But Meghan's Harper's Bazaar shoot, it tried and failed to recreate Diana's vulnerability by force. And that's why it backfired so badly. Instead of touching nostalgia, it triggered confusion. Instead of elegance, it felt forced. Instead of copying Diana's legacy, it highlighted Meghan's desperation. Now that we understand the chaos on the surface, let's go deeper. Because this wasn't just a magazine cover, it was a last resort. Multiple industry insiders claimed that Meghan didn't simply accept the Harper's Bazaar offer. She begged for it. Not long before this, she'd allegedly approached Vogue asking to be featured as part of a power duo cover. Not just any feature. She wanted a co-cover with Princess Catherine. Yes, really. But Vogue turned her down firmly, permanently. Sources say she burned that bridge fast, demanding creative control and expecting royal-level treatment she simply didn't have the public support for. So, when Vogue said absolutely not, she shifted to Harper's Bazaar, a respected magazine. Yes, but not the top choice she had originally aimed for. And here's the twist. The Bazaar team didn't treat her like a beloved global icon. They treated her like a celebrity trying to revive a fading brand. And the final result, the very photo shoot meant to restore her dignity, ended up exposing her illusions, making the Duchess of Delusion nickname feel painfully accurate. Now, let's talk about the moment that said more about Meghan than the photos ever could. Imagine walking into a beautiful brownstone home on the Upper East Side. It's quiet, peaceful, just you and one other person inside. But before you even take 3 steps, the house manager steps forward dramatically and announces Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, to absolutely no one because the room is empty. This wasn't a royal banquet. This wasn't a gala. This wasn't a red carpet. This was an empty house. And yet, Meghan needed her full title announced like a drum roll before a magic show. Sources say she requires people to introduce her by her title, even when it's unnecessary, uncomfortable, and borderline performative. And here's the thing. When someone is truly important, you don't need to remind the room who they are. The room already knows. But Meghan treats her title like a life vest, clinging to it, floating in it, making sure no one ever forgets it. Even though she spent years publicly attacking the monarchy, she still keeps the title close like a prized accessory. This moment, the empty room announcement, wasn't just dramatic. It was revealing. It showed us a woman who is terrified of being ordinary. A woman who believes her importance exists only if someone else announces it. A woman whose identity depends on a title she claims nearly destroyed her. The Duchess of Sussex performing her royalty for an audience of none. If the photo shoot exposed Meghan's obsession with image, the interview exposed her obsession with narrative, because the Harper's Bazaar article didn't read like a celebration. It read like a confession, but not the honest kind. More like a PR speech written by someone who forgot her old interviews are still on the internet. She claimed she was finally ready to tell her own story again. Again, as in one more version of a tale she has repeated in books, documentaries, podcasts, and press tours. She talked about always being the smart one, even though her public slip-ups, from language mistakes to mismatched timelines, tell a different story entirely. She described herself as someone swallowed up by other people's narratives. Yet, ironically, she's the one who cannot stop rewriting her own life in new versions. And then came the line that made everyone pause. Meghan said she learned from her past mistakes and wouldn't repeat them, but she was repeating them right there in the interview. The dramatic posturing, the exaggerated self-praise, the polished victimhood, the same themes recycled in different words. It was like watching someone insist they've changed while doing the exact same thing that caused the problem in the first place. By the end of the article, Meghan didn't come across as empowered. She came across as exposed, a woman who wanted to debut a new chapter, but accidentally revealed the same old script. Now, let's talk about a moment that the magazine probably thought would feel sweet and empowering, but instead came off awkward enough to make a cactus sweat. During the shoot, Meghan posed with a group of young girls. A beautiful concept in theory. A duchess mentoring the next generation, giving them that inspiration moment. Except that's not what happened. Sources present said the atmosphere wasn't glowing, uplifting, or even warm. It was stiff, awkward, silently screaming, "Someone, please get me out of here." Some girls stared directly at the camera. Others squinted. A few looked away as if pretending to study a distant bird in the sky. Not one person looked naturally joyful. It was as if they knew something Meghan didn't. That standing beside her wasn't a statement of empowerment. It was a PR trap. Here's where the tone shifts. Because behind all the styling, posing, and title announcing, something far deeper is happening. In the interview, Meghan talks about Harry in a way that should feel loving, but instead feels like a woman desperately holding onto a rope that's already fraying. She says, "No one in the world loves me more than him." She puts her hand on her heart, describing his bold and full love. Sounds romantic, right? Except it wasn't. Sources say Meghan rarely expresses love directly. She praises Harry in ways that sound scripted, distant, and rehearsed, like someone building a safety net long before the fall. And here's the shocking part. According to people close to the situation, when someone praises their partner aggressively right before a major change, it's often a sign they're bracing for impact, like they're preparing the public. "Look, I said he loved me. I said everything was perfect. So, if the marriage ends, I'm the shocked one. That's exactly the tone Meghan used. She didn't say she loved him. She said he loved her boldly, fully, devotedly. It sounded less like affection and more like a woman drafting the first lines of a future breakup speech. And the more she spoke, the more her words felt like they weren't meant for Harry at all. They were meant for us, the audience, the court of public opinion, the future jury she wants on her side. Whether the marriage survives or not, one thing is clear. The interview revealed cracks she never meant to expose.